Back here on ESPN Bet Live, you know, the last time we saw the Cowboys, they're getting drubbed by the Lions a couple weeks ago. Now Dallas coming off a bye, and Mike McCarthy, not just Andy Reid, but Mike McCarthy has excelled in the spot. 13-3-1 ATS coming off a much needed bye for Dallas. Joining us now on the desk, Erin, Joe, it is our Thursday evening quarterback. Dan Orlovsky, still the best cover QB on the road to start a career in the NFL.
Does that get someone into Canton?
We'll make the case.
Gets you into,
we'll build something up there.
Figure that out.
Here.
Yeah.
Is that Mac's job today?
What's that?
Who figured that out?
This guy discovered a little nugget last week when Dan was
I got his
on.
back.
Yeah.
For the
My
brain
dog.
trust.
My guy.
Bo Nix is gaining on you, though. He's coming like a rabid dog.
Yeah. True.
We'll see if Bo Nix makes the topics of conversation here, but I do want to start with that Mike McCarthy stat. 13-3-1 ATS off a bye. That's very good. Dallas is obviously desperate as a road dog in San Francisco against a beat-up team. Can we count on McCarthy and Dallas in this spot?
I don't think so. And I know San Francisco is decimated by injuries, but San Francisco can still do the one thing that has haunted the Cowboys defensively, not only this season, but for the past couple of seasons, run the football and run the football very well. I think that they're going to be able to take shots down the field. Now, Ricky Pearsall, how healthy or impactful is he going to be? They still have George Kittle. We've lost sight of that. Does Deebo Samuel play? Brock Purdy, I do not expect to have two bad games in a row because he played poorly last week versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I still think with Kyle Shanahan and the noise that's been all over Dallas since their bye week started, good football game, but I think the 49ers found a way to win.
Elsewhere in the division, Philadelphia on the road catching 2.5 against Cincinnati. I think the price is cheap on the Bengals. How do you see this game playing out?
Massive, massive game for both teams.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah.
You know, the Bengals, if they find a way to win, they get to 4-4. They play the Raiders next week. They can get to 5-4 before seeing the Baltimore Ravens again. And then obviously Philadelphia trying to keep track with the Washington Commanders. I've bet on Cincinnati, and I think Cincinnati wins this football game. The Eagles' defense has played better. They have not played Joe Burrow in this past game. And the offense for the Philadelphia Eagles still not playing a dominant fashion. They're explosive play or nothing. And I think the receivers, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, can create issues not only on the outside versus a young player in Quinyon Mitchell and Darius Slay, but if they move them inside and get matchups against a player like a Reed Blankenship. I think because of the way that the Bengals are playing offensively and the explosive element of that and the lack of consistency from the Eagles offense, I think that the Bengals win a very close and tough football game.
You know, you mentioned this last week. The Eagles have not scored a single point in the first quarter.
Again.
That holds true. They didn't do it again. They're the only team in the NFL to hold that honor. There are a lot of props you can play to bet that this week. I won't put all those in front of you, but do you think they break through this week and finally score in the first quarter? For example, over under 3.5 points in the first quarter.
No. I have 7 weeks of data that says otherwise. If it's going to happen, it'll be this week because the Bengals defense struggle in two things. Crossing routes, the Eagles think of Devontae Smith. That's kind of all they throw to him for some reason. And stopping the run. They've been better at it, but this is a different beast with Saquon. But I still say no. Good. Till you do it.
All right, we expect Tua to come back. This will be good for the Miami Dolphins, whose offense has been terrible without him. Do you think that he can get things going right away?
Absolutely. You know, what you saw is the strength of their team and certainly the two best players in their offense, Waddle and Tyreek Hill. They have no chance to impact the football game if not for Tua being there. They now have their two best players with the ability to impact the football game. That's kind of what makes them unique, is other teams can lose their quarterback, but their best player can still impact the game, or their second best. Miami didn't have a chance. And I think because of the way that their offense is built, now Tua's going to have to settle in quickly. Could it be similar to what we saw last week with Russell Wilson? A little bit of a shaky first quarter and then settling in. I do think you can see that. If you watch the Cardinals play defensively, they put so many people down near the football. I think Miami's shot game can take advantage of that.
We don't just get Tua back this week, but Jameis Winston we likely get back in our lives. Deshaun Watson now done for the year. Can Jameis kind of infuse enough credibility to this Browns offense to keep it close against a Ravens team that just looks like the best in the league?
I think so. I think he can be value the football a little bit more. There can be a little bit more consistency in their pass game. The only caveat I have in this game is Ken Dorsey taking over as play caller for Kevin Stefanski. I just don't know exactly what this offense is going to look like. And so with some of the question marks still on the offensive line, and unknown is it going to be shotgun pass? Are they going to lean into the run? Is there going to be more? I just don't have a great understanding of exactly how the offense that Ken Dorsey stylistically wants to play. Well, I do like Jameis Winston and felt like he should have been playing a long time ago. The unknown makes me think that because of the the lack of consistency with the scheme in Cleveland. Yep. I like Baltimore still too much.
Back here on ESPN Bet Live, talking more NFL, a few historic spreads and trends for Week 8. 2-5 New York Jets are laying 7 in New England. The first time the Jets have laid at least a touchdown on the road since 1992, longest drought in the Super Bowl era. The Detroit Lions are a huge favorite against the Titans. Last time Detroit was favored by more than 10 points was back in 1996. It's also the longest drought without laying at least double digits, plus the hook, in the Super Bowl era. And the Bengals are now a 3-point favorite against the Eagles. Cincinnati a perfect 14-0 all-time against the spread against Philly. That's the best head-to-head ATS record among active franchises in NFL history. That's kind of a wild stat there. I know they're not like division rivals or anything, but very wild. Aaron, Joe, let's dive into that Eagles-Bengals game. I know you'll be watching. As I mentioned, Lions moved from 2.5 to 3 in favor of Cincinnati. How do you feel?
I don't like it as much at 3. I like the Bengals at -2.5, and it's because the Eagles are so up and down. Like, people might be thinking, well, last game they looked great. They won 28-3 against the New York Giants. Okay, that's fine. That's dandy. But the Bengals, they're a team that doesn't scare me at the beginning of the season. They're a team that starts scaring me right about now. They've won 3 of their last 4 games after a pretty rocky start, but you could argue that their record should be better, not 3-4, based on the fact that they went down to the wire with the Chiefs, they went down to the wire with the Ravens. Those teams are 2 really good teams, and I understand those losses. But going against an Eagles team that, I mean, the defense hasn't been that great. The offense, when it looks good, but when it looks bad, it looks like, what's going on? You have all the pieces. Why can't you figure it out? I don't trust the coaching, so I would lay the points, but I don't like it as much at 3.
You could see this one coming. The look ahead was 3. They both went out and won this weekend. No crazy injuries, and then it reemerges at 2, 2.5. Yeah, the money was going to come in on Cincinnati. All 4 Bengal losses by 1 score. Like, they could be much better. This is the time they make their move. Good point.
Anything you're trying to get ahead of before Sunday, Joe?
There's a total in Seattle. We have 46.5 up between the Seahawks and the Bills. 47 is the 4th most key number when it comes to totals. Market's dealing 47, so just kind of keep your eyes on this. And if you can play a 47, you're going to want to look to an under here. Weather's a concern, number 1. DK Metcalf's availability is a concern for Seattle, number 2. Number 3, these are 2 good defenses, or at least better than the market realizes, because there have been some injuries and some shaky performances. But overall, Seattle's defense is better than people realize. They've dealt with injuries the last few weeks. They're finally healthy. Bills' defense is finally getting healthy, and the Bills like to run the ball. So given Mike McDonald, the head coach of Seattle, used to work in Baltimore. Baltimore played the Bills a few weeks ago and really shut them down. I'd have to imagine he's probably made a couple phone calls this week to see what the situation looks like. I'd look to the under there. I think that's a good spot.